Meghan raised holy fucking hell. Bullying file this thick at Buckingham Palace.
One of the judges, I think she was mocking Meghan.
Really beloved in Australia. So obviously Meghan decided to hate her and decide that she's a real bitch. And she totally castigated Poe behind the scenes.
Cringe, Kinsey, as if the whole episode couldn't get a lot worse.
MasterChef did not simply edit Meghan Markle's episode. It allegedly cut the exact moments that could have shown what really happened when the polished smile disappeared, the atmosphere changed, and the Duchess suddenly lost control of the story. And tonight, we are putting those missing pieces back together.
When these outlets are going to learn that the stink of La Markle is very hard, it's more difficult. It's a more difficult odor to remove than that of a skunk spraying you, okay?
This was supposed to be Meghan's big kitchen victory. She walked into MasterChef Australia with a lifestyle show, a food brand, expensive products, a carefully built hosting image, and a giant introduction designed to make her look like the most important person in the room. Instead, the simplest cooking questions began ripping holes through the entire performance.
Can I ask you, please, Meghan, what is your favorite dish to cook for the family?
That's a tough one. It's a tough one because I have a lot of palates to appease.
She don't cook.
I'm sorry.
She don't cook.
It's weird. Even like I don't cook, but I've got like my 5 go-tos as a mother of 3 children that, you know, I will cook. If you ask me that, my answer would be lasagna. Everybody loves it. I've learned how to cook it. It's a crowd pleaser. Why can't she name the favorite meal? I've got a lot of palates to appease. So does every mother on earth. What are you saying? Of course, obviously you have more than one child. You do.
The first major problem arrived when Meghan was asked an easy question. What is her favorite dish to cook for her family? That was not a trap. Nobody asked her to prepare a 5-course meal, explain a difficult technique, or identify a mystery ingredient while blindfolded. They asked for one dish. Meghan paused and answered, "That's a tough one because she had a lot of palates to appease." Then she started listing broad categories. Harry likes meat, potatoes, and cream sauce, while she likes grilled fish, grilled meats, citrus, herbs, spices, and a little heat. But the actual dish never arrived.
She has an entire brand, guys, about cooking items. They even call it artisanal kitchen items. And you watched her on this show, and I am absolutely 100% positive Meghan Markle does not cook at home. She does not. Nor does she know anything about hosting. Because when the comment she made about hosting, all I can think of is, honey, you never host. You have an army of people in the kitchen doing the work for you. You're not doing the work.
No roast, no pasta, no curry, no family recipe, no quick weeknight favorite. Just a cloud of ingredients floating around the kitchen while the question sat there unanswered. Then the conversation somehow drifted into whether Australians say herbs differently from Americans.
Meghan Markle attempts to seem like any sort of chef in the kitchen and continues to obfuscate any of her skills, basically distracting every time somebody brings up her actually cooking something. It's really, really astounding. And the whole thing was so saccharine that you could just actually feel the sugar coming through the screen. You were actually on a sugar high afterwards because they were so ridiculously over the top with her.
Before we continue, I want to mention something really quick. Organizing your family's important information is one of those things most of us know we should do, but we keep putting it off. That's exactly why there's the Family Vault. It gives you one place to organize your important documents, insurance, medical information, passwords, and more, so everything is easy to find when it's needed. You'll find the link in the description, or you can scan the QR code on your screen. That's all. Now let's get back to today's story.
It was a perfect escape route because discussing pronunciation was much easier than naming the meal she supposedly loves to cook. For a person selling food, hosting, preserves, honey, tea, and a carefully polished domestic lifestyle, this should have been the easiest answer of the entire episode. Instead, it became the first moment when the image started wobbling.
Cook something fit for a duchess. Well, I didn't think she wanted to be known as anything royal. So
no, she does. She wants to be Duchess of Sussex, but she feigned disdain for the royalty line. You know, we're used to having royalty in the kitchen, but this is, a whole other level, something along the lines of that.
Meghan has spent months presenting herself as relaxed in the kitchen, creative with ingredients, connected to fresh produce, and passionate about feeding people. Yet when MasterChef gave her a wide-open chance to prove it with one specific answer, she delivered adjectives instead of food. Fresh, natural, seasonal, playful, balanced.
And how terrible everything was written all over her face, including the banana bread made specially for Meghan by one of the judges on the show, which I'm sure was magnificent. But Meghan acted like it was one of the worst things she had ever eaten.
Those words sound beautiful in a press release, but they do not tell anyone what is going into the oven. And the problem only became worse when Meghan was asked what she would cook from the ingredients placed in front of the contestants. This should have been her moment to take control. She helped shape the challenge. She had been discussing creativity, and she was standing inside one of the most famous television kitchens in the world. Meghan looked at the ingredients and landed on carrot top pesto. Yes, pesto again.
Have a cheesy call with her husband just to further enhance her royal credentials is just naff beyond belief. But obviously the program makers thought it was something that was well worth inserting, or it may have been something that she insisted on. I have no idea. But it just, to me, just seems so wrong that you need your other half to sort of almost give you credibility.
She talked about using the carrot tops, perhaps putting the pesto with pasta or fish, and then the answer began stretching in several directions at once. At one point, Poe stepped in and finished the thought with so many things, almost as if the conversation needed to be rescued before it disappeared completely. That tiny moment mattered because the professionals were supposed to be receiving insight from the special guest. Instead, the professional host appeared to help the special guest finish her own answer.
You'll remember the Sandringham Summit was absolutely adamant in the fact that Meghan was not able to commercialize aspects of the British royal family. Yet my understanding, Meghan, is she's been paid for this MasterChef Australia experience. She wasn't doing this for altruistic reasons. She's not donating her fee to a charity. This is straight money in her pocket, and yet she used her Duchess title within it. So that is immediately a contravention of the Sandringham Summit.
Meghan had already told the contestants to find a hero item. She wanted one ingredient to lead the plate, carry a story, and create an emotional connection. That is smart brand language. It sounds like something taken directly from a product meeting where every jar needs a story, every ribbon needs a meaning, and every box needs to feel personal. But MasterChef is not a branding meeting. The plate still has to work.
I don't think this went well in terms of filming. And I definitely think the two female hosts really caught on to Meghan and were really able to figure out quite quickly that Meghan didn't know what she was talking about, couldn't really evaluate any of the food, and just is an absolute dope on this program.
The contestants were asked to use ingredients, build flavor, manage time, and produce real food under pressure. Meghan could talk about nostalgia, storytelling, and hero products, but when the questions became practical, her answers became noticeably thinner. Then came another revealing exchange. One contestant explained that he was trying to create something that could connect with Meghan and perhaps travel back to California with her.
When the episode aired, the mention of royalty was cut out. Instead, as we saw and heard, she was introduced as a, quote, global icon, philanthropist, humanitarian, and business owner, etc., etc., etc.
Meghan replied that she loved that he was thinking about her. That line landed hard because the challenge was already centered on Meghan. The entrance was about Meghan, the ingredients were connected to Meghan, the dishes were being built for Meghan, and the contestants were being told to create something fit for Meghan.
Global icon, which Meghan Markle is not. She is not a global icon. In her mind, maybe, but not really. Catherine's a global icon. Meghan Markle is not, because Meghan Markle, to me, to be an icon, you actually need to be well-liked and successful and accomplished, and Meghan Markle is none of those things. So she can't be an icon. She's not a philanthropist. She hardly does charity work, and she basically does charity work for the good feels of it, in terms of her good feels. She also is not a humanitarian because everything serves Meghan Markle.
Yet, even when a contestant was fighting to keep his place in the competition, the conversation snapped back to how much he was thinking about her. This was not Meghan visiting their challenge. The entire challenge had been turned into Meghan's stage. The episode kept pushing the same message. Look at Meghan, impress Meghan, cook for Meghan, praise Meghan, and make the food sparkle for Meghan. At one point, "Make it sparkle for Meghan Markle" was shouted across the kitchen.
Conveniently interrupted by a call from her husband. You've been on active sets. How often do they tell you to turn your cell phone off or have it on vibrate or put it on airplane mode when you are on a live set? And Meghan Markle, who's supposed to be the queen of Suits, are you telling me she didn't know when to have her cell phone off?
It sounded like a harmless television rhyme, but after so much praise, it also made the whole appearance feel even more manufactured. Then came the strangest time call MasterChef may have ever seen. Normally, a judge announces the remaining time loudly, so every contestant hears it at once. The kitchen is loud, the clock is moving, pans are hot, sauces are reducing, and nobody has time for a personal audience.
I love how they're calling it a debut because that to me implies like she might be back. Trust me, she will not be back. She will not be asked back. She may ask herself back, and I think they're going to give her some sort of lame excuse like, we're stacked for the season.
Meghan decided she did not want to yell. Instead, she walked from contestant to contestant and personally delivered the same 30-minute warning over and over again. "I'm just telling you personally," she kept explaining, even though she was already standing directly in front of them. The result was painfully slow and strangely theatrical.
To me, this is ridiculous. So any guest on MasterChef say, well, okay, any MasterChef, their other half, and say, well, I just think, could my other half just ring in and say hi to me while I'm a guest on this program? That is just so naff. But let's be honest, we know why she did it. It is to prove her royal credentials.
Contestants were trying to chop, stir, plate, and think, while Meghan moved through the kitchen, turning a basic time warning into a series of tiny private performances. One contestant called it an elegant time call. Another joked that it felt like ASMR. The show laughed, but the scene also exposed how badly Meghan wanted even a routine production moment to feel uniquely hers.
She's known for her huge heart. No, she's not. This is a woman who literally had somebody hand deliver to her father in the hospital a kind of notary note going, well, I hope you're okay. Please don't contact me ever again.
She could not simply shout 30 minutes and move on. It had to be softer, more personal, more elegant, more Meghan. And every extra second forced the contestants to stop, look up, respond, smile, and participate in the performance while their clocks kept running.
Meghan, we know you were not, let's say, invited. You invited yourself. As you invite yourself everywhere. This is a funny thing. She invites herself everywhere, guys. It's really, really odd. That just shows you so much about Meghan, is that she's not actually invited. She invites herself.
That is where the episode started feeling less like MasterChef and more like a promotional special built around a guest who needed constant attention. Then the food judging began, and the contrast became even sharper. The real judges spoke about technique, texture, balance, heritage, execution, and how each plate could improve. They could identify what a contestant was trying to do and explain exactly where the idea worked or failed.
I think Meghan did a pretty good job at feigning surprise. I think anyone would have to be a little foolish to think that she didn't know that Harry was going to be calling in. The timing was immaculate, that she should happen to be taste testing those contestants' dishes right as he called and a crew member came on set with the phone.
Meghan often stayed in safer territory. Beautiful, meaningful, creative, nostalgic, interesting, playful. Those are pleasant words. But contestants in a competition need more than pleasant words. When one contestant discussed textures around an ice cream dish, Meghan asked whether he was thinking about different flavors and textures. Of course he was. He was standing in the MasterChef kitchen building a competition dessert.
Meghan leaves a state, her husband too. Wherever they go, whatever they touch, They turn it into a disaster area. They turn it into a hazmat site.
The question sounded less like expert guidance and more like a line designed to keep the special guest involved. Another moment became even more uncomfortable when Poe gave a contestant detailed feedback about connecting with his Malaysian heritage. She explained what she could feel in his food and why that emotional link mattered. Meghan sat beside her, and viewers immediately began studying the expression on her face.
No way! Let's go live to Reed Butler in LA. Reed, just how on earth did this happen?
I know, what a coincidence, right? Thank goodness the team at MasterChef were filming for that totally random and natural, unscripted moment when Harry called Meghan.
Some saw a neutral listening look, while others thought the smile had vanished because the real food expert had taken complete control of the conversation. That is the danger of stepping into a room full of professionals while selling yourself as a lifestyle authority. The comparison happens instantly.
As you get through the show, I kind of couldn't help but see, especially one of the judges, I think she was mocking Meghan. I think she was very, very subtly twisting what Meghan's PR team told them to do, keeping referring to her as the Duchess, and called her out for obviously being so incredibly fake when attempting to try things and tell somebody it was good, because Meghan cannot act.
Poe did not need a giant speech about her credentials. She could talk about the food, the contestant, the technique, and the meaning of the dish because she had lived inside that world for years. Meghan needed the episode to repeatedly remind viewers who she was. The kitchen also produced a banana bread moment that viewers could not stop replaying.
Bullying file this thick at Buckingham Palace. Keep antagonizing the palace, Meghan. Keep doing it. That was also an FU to King Charles and Prince William, what she did with that photo of the children and Harry at Althorp. That was a fuck you. That was her rage explosion.
Poe made banana bread for Meghan, clearly connecting it to Meghan's famous loaf from her earlier Australia visit. It should have been an easy, warm television exchange, but as Meghan tasted it, her expression appeared tight and difficult to read. There was no immediate explosion of delight, no big smile, and no obvious reaction matching the enormous praise surrounding the rest of the episode. Then Meghan asked for the recipe.
You know I'm Sussex now.
So one would think, okay, that was relatively recently, right? That was within the past year or so. So she's Meghan Sussex, right? We're supposed to call her Sussex. Meghan Sussex? Let's take a look.
Do we call you Duchess? Oh, call me Meghan. Absolutely.
I'm just Meghan. I'm just Meghan.
That sudden, polite recovery made the clip even more interesting. Was she simply concentrating on the flavor, or did she realize the camera had caught a reaction she did not want viewers to study? Nobody can prove what she was thinking, but the moment mattered because it looked far less polished than the rest of the appearance. And that was supposed to be the edited version.
Don't you know I'm Sussex now, Dan?
She was so mad. She hated that woman who introduced her, Poe.
This is the point people keep missing. The episode that aired was not raw footage. It had already been selected, cut, rearranged, polished, scored with music, and packaged for television. Producers could choose the best smiles. They could remove long pauses. They could tighten weak answers. They could add applause, reaction shots, and cheerful music to keep everything moving. Yet even after all of that,
now, Poe was apparently upset at having accidentally gone against Meghan's wishes, which says to me that Meghan raised holy fucking hell.
Viewers still saw Meghan struggle to name a dish, drift into vague language, return to pesto, repeat a personal time call, and rely on the real judges to carry the serious food discussion. Imagine what the full filming day looked like. How many pauses were shortened? How many reactions were replaced with a different camera angle? How many weak comments disappeared completely? How much extra praise was added around Meghan to keep the appearance feeling positive? That is why the cutscenes matter more than a single rumor.
You could almost feel her PR team whispering in their ear, telling them how much they have to praise her for her obvious, very mediocre, absolute amateur, so unworthy of this competition skills that it actually boggles the mind.
The final episode already feels like a rescue operation in places, not because Meghan made one giant mistake, but because dozens of tiny moments kept exposing the gap between the image and the performance. The entire purpose of this appearance was obvious. Meghan needed to look credible in the kitchen because her current business depends on people seeing her as credible in the kitchen.
If you can't pick it off a tree, you can't have it as dessert. So, okay, great. Sounds like a lot of fun, Dan.
She's that mum, isn't she?
Her lifestyle brand sells a fantasy of taste, hosting, gifting, beautiful ingredients, effortless meals, and carefully arranged domestic perfection. Her television show sells the same fantasy with flowers, jars, garden produce, table settings, and soft music. MasterChef gave her access to a huge international food audience. But critics quickly pointed out a basic problem.
It also wouldn't be a Meghan Markle appearance anywhere if she wasn't making somebody cry.
The products she was supposedly helping promote were not even readily available to Australian customers at the time. So what exactly was the plan? Use an Australian show to build a global image first, then hope the products catch up later? That is the same backward strategy critics have complained about before. Launch the publicity, create the headlines, and deal with the practical details afterward. Meghan also claimed to be a major MasterChef fan.
Really beloved in Australia. So obviously Meghan decided to hate her and decide that she's a real bitch. And she totally castigated Poe behind the scenes.
When asked about the show, she answered, "Of course, who isn't a MasterChef fan?" and said she was honored to have been asked to judge. Then she was asked to choose between the American and Australian versions. She would not choose. That could simply have been diplomacy. But it also sounded like the safest possible answer from someone who did not want to reveal how much of either version she had actually watched. The whole appearance operated in that safe zone. Never too specific, never too technical, never too risky. Keep smiling. Mention California.
It was so incredibly clear that the comments and the articles about tensions behind the scene, I think, guys, were incredibly, incredibly real.
Talk about fresh produce, say the food has meaning, and let the experienced people handle the details. Then Harry suddenly appeared. A crew member walked onto the set carrying a phone while Meghan was tasting dishes. The timing could not have been cleaner if somebody had marked the exact second in a production schedule. Meghan answered with, "Hi, my love," and Harry appeared on FaceTime as the contestants reacted with excitement. Viewers were told this was a surprise. But television sets do not usually operate like a family kitchen, where anyone can casually ring in whenever they feel like it.
Sorry to interrupt. We've had a phone call to studio.
Hi, my love. Hi. My husband's here.
Phones are controlled, timing matters, cameras need positions, audio has to work, and a crew member does not normally wander into the shot unless production knows exactly what is happening. The call conveniently arrived while the cameras were rolling. Meghan was in position, the contestants were gathered, and Harry could instantly become part of the episode. That is why so many viewers called the scene cringe. It did not feel spontaneous. It felt inserted. And Harry's job in that moment was not to talk about cooking.
She's not engaged in cooking, and she's trying so exceptionally hard that it could not look more forced. Meghan Markle needs to give up on this dream on somehow having a chef career or something and try to do something that's a little bit more in her wheelhouse.
Before we continue, one quick thing. One thing I've realized is that most families don't have their important information organized in one place. That's exactly why I recommend the Family Vault, a simple printable and fillable organizer where you can keep everything from important documents and insurance to medical information, passwords. You'll find the link in the description, or you can simply scan the QR code on your screen. Now let's get back to today's story.
His job was to deliver the one thing Meghan could not manufacture alone, a live reminder that she is married to a prince. The kitchen expertise was looking shaky, so the royal connection arrived on a screen. Suddenly, the contestants were not simply speaking to a lifestyle guest. They were waving at Prince Harry, laughing about spicy food, and participating in another carefully packaged Sussex couple moment. The call shifted attention away from Meghan's thin cooking answers and back toward the safer product.
Food and cooking to me is really a love language. I think it's such a great way to connect. It's something that can feel sentimental and meaningful, and it's how I show my nurturing and love for my friends, family, and my kids.
She's not doing this for the money. Don't even suggest it, Tash. She's not doing this for the money. She's doing this because it is her love language, okay?
Harry and Meghan as a celebrity pair. That is why the final edit is so revealing. The show left in the flattering music. It left in the applause. It left in the endless praise. It left in the personal time calls. It left in Harry's suspiciously perfect FaceTime entrance. But something else disappeared. The promotional version had reportedly used the word royalty when introducing Meghan. By the time the full episode aired, that word was gone. Instead, the introduction became even bigger. Global icon, philanthropist, humanitarian, business owner, and a woman known around the world for her love of home cooking. That rewrite raises an obvious question.
Call me cynical, but I don't believe for a second that Prince Harry just happened to FaceTime Meghan Markle while the cameras were rolling. I think we've watched Meghan operate long enough to know that very little about the presentation of brand Meghan is accidental. She's a total control freak, if I'm being like the nicest way I could possibly say it.
Why was royalty considered unacceptable while the entire episode still revolved around the Duchess title, a dish fit for a duchess, royal-style fanfare, and a surprise appearance from a prince? The word was reportedly a problem, but the status was still the entire selling point. And now we reach the part the episode did not show. Reports claimed Poe was deeply upset after accidentally using the description Meghan's team had allegedly asked production to avoid, and one account said she was pushed to tears. She reportedly wanted to reach out directly, but production was said to have stepped in and handled the situation instead. That allegation remains unconfirmed on camera, but it explains why the missing footage has become more explosive than the footage that aired.
She's really bad at acting. And I find it fitting, the thumbnail they chose for this, because she's doing this. She's doing this. Like, the manic expression and the fakery there. You can feel it just in that expression. It's almost as if they are subtly shading her, which I think they are.
Because if the final edit removed the introduction, softened the tension, and still could not hide Meghan's awkward answers, strange reactions, constant self-focus, and staged-looking phone call, then the complete footage may tell a very different story. MasterChef was supposed to prove Meghan belonged in the food world. Instead, it gave viewers a close-up look at the machinery required to keep that image standing. The praise had to be enormous, the questions had to stay soft, the real judges had to carry the technical conversation, Harry had to appear at exactly the right moment, and the one word that reportedly triggered a backstage problem had to vanish before broadcast. That is not effortless hosting. That is a full television rescue mission. What do you think? Did the final edit protect Meghan, or did it accidentally expose even more by making every polished moment look controlled? Tell me in the comments, like this video, share it, and subscribe to Crown Clash, because every day I share a new video.